Solar flash update January 17th. Massive UFO disclosure finally begins. We are going to talk about this development, and stay tuned for the whole video because I'm going to go through what I believe might be the step-by-step process that goes from UFO disclosure to open contact, 5D Earth event. Stay tuned for that. This is the Thunder Wizard YouTube channel, the official gathering place for all 5D starseeds and light workers. In order to understand what is going on, we must question our reality and then change it. If you're new to this or you like our videos, please go to thunderwizard.com. At that website, you will gain access to the most powerful energy practices on the planet. Listen, if you're only watching my videos and you're not taking advantage of these energy practices, you're getting about 2% of what this channel is here to give you. Go check out those subscriptions, and also go to the shop if you're just interested in single video courses or teachings. If you want to support this channel directly, if you like what we're doing, please go to support.thunderwizard.com. Follow the instructions there. And most important thing to do is to show up every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the live guided interdimensional meditations. These are free, live streamed. If you can't make the live stream, go and check out the live section, archived, pre-recorded sessions, and enjoy them. This is the single most powerful thing you can do, not only for yourself, but for the planet. Check it out and find out for yourself. All right. Solar flash update January 17th. Massive UFO disclosure begins. All right, so I've been waiting for this. I can confirm to you that it has happened. Now, sadly, it's not happening as fast as I want it to, but I understand the reasons for it now. I've got links below. Go click the links below. I've got a link to Dr. Stephen Greer's latest podcast where he goes into detail explaining the strategy behind this and why, how they're doing it the way that they're doing it. And so go ahead. I won't repeat what he said. Go ahead and check that out yourself. So disclosure is happening. It has officially begun, but it is happening slowly. So my last video, I was like, okay, so Dr. Greer says that disclosure has happened, and sure enough, some guy shows up on News Nation, and he's a new whistleblower. He's not the three that you normally see. By the way, I just want to let you know there are three supposed UFO ex-military whistleblowers that are showing up on all of the mainstream media. They are all three, in my opinion, I can't prove it, but it is my opinion that all three of them are deep state liars. They're working for the CIA, or who knows who, Pentagon, I don't care. But I wouldn't believe them. Those three are Luis Elizondo, David Grush, and Jeremy Corbell. Those three people are they are agents of disinformation. So they're either lying to you, or they are telling you half-truths, or they are purposefully trying to distract you. And they're bad actors, all of them. I was an actor, and a good one. And so I know when somebody's acting, and I know when somebody's rehearsed their emotions and they're not good at it. And people who lie, by the way, acting isn't the same as lying. If you want to know why you go and watch, whomever, whichever actor you love, and you're like, wow, you really believe him, because they're not lying. They are playing a fictional character, and they allow themselves to believe that story, and then they play it. Somebody who's lying isn't acting, because they are consciously sowing disinformation. So they don't believe what they're saying, but they're manipulators, and I can tell. Jeremy Corbell, I was watching him today about some big announcement. And it was a nonsense announcement that didn't go anywhere. It was just meant to distract and cause fear and confusion. And you could tell that he was acting, and he was acting badly. So don't believe those guys. Those guys normally show up on News Nation, which is the new guy. I forget his name, but he is not an actor, and he is the real thing. So I was waiting for that, and I saw that, and I had all kinds of criteria that I talked about in my last video about, this guy's for real if he does this, and I'm coming to find out that there's a reason why they're not going as fast as I want them to. So what I'd like to see, this again is my journey from disclosure to open contact. This is what I think might be happening. So disclosure happens slowly, and then my hope is that they will reveal the program of fake alien abductions. So real disclosure of the UFO, meaning the deep military, unacknowledged, secret UFO retrieval program. That real program isn't what Jeremy Corbell and Luis Elizondo and David Grush want you to believe, which is they want you to believe that our military has unacknowledged secret organizations that are looking at the sky waiting for extraterrestrials to crash. And, look, that guy got hit by lightning. Let's go retrieve the crash. That's what they want you to believe. So they want you to believe partial truth, which is that there are teams that go out and get crashed UFOs and get alien bodies, and then reverse engineer alien craft. That part is true. The other part they don't tell you is that it's not that you're waiting around for these poor, strangers, these foreigners coming in and don't know how to, all of a sudden they don't know how to fly their own vehicle in Earth space. These are vehicles that have been shot down by humans. They have been shot down by the very people who then are in charge of these retrieval programs. Because the whole point of it is to shoot them down and then retrieve not just the alien technology and reverse engineer it. They also want the alien DNA. So the other thing that is true about the alien abductions is the hybrid program. So there is a hybridization program where human beings are being bred, or they take human DNA and fluids, reproductive fluids and materials, and they do the same with extraterrestrials, and they have been successfully crossbreeding and creating hybrids. It's a horrific abomination, and I can tell you that those, everything that I've, even, when I believed the whole thing, what you find out is that those hybrids are horrifically in pain. They are very uncomfortable. On a much different scale, people want to go get wolf dogs. You're better off getting a dog or a wolf. But when you get a wolf dogs are not happy because they're half dog and half wolf, and they go back and forth, and they're very unpredictable, and they're very unhappy. So same thing with these beings. So that part is true, and my hope is that this will be released. That would be true disclosure, and I think that would be the most damning thing. If the first thing that comes out is, yes, we've been reverse engineering, and here's why. Because we've been, since the 50s, we've been doing these fake alien abductions to create a psyop, and we've been trying to frighten you so that we can create the fake alien invasion and take over the earth. So that to me would be true disclosure. We'll see if that happens, but it has to happen slowly. The reason why it has to happen slowly, very briefly, is because these new whistleblowers, at least some of them, are still actively in those programs. So, they could lose their job, but they can also lose their life. And so they have to roll out slowly to see what the response is going to be. And there's talk about the new administration, perhaps Trump coming in and giving an executive order or a series of executive orders to protect these people so that they can come out and completely tell the truth. And if any president was going to do it, it would be Trump. So let's see if that happens. But at the very least, these guys have to test the waters to see if they can do this and survive. And so for that, I have to be patient, because I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. They're very brave just to be doing this. So disclosure is happening, but it's happening very slower than I'd like to go, but I understand why. So, so after revealing program of fake alien abductions, then the next thing I would imagine would be to educate humans on actual nature of ET consciousness. The actual nature of ET consciousness is not what you've been told in the movies. I've talked about it. I don't mean anything negative about this person, because I don't know them. In fact, everything that I've seen tells me that this is an honest person, a sincere person, a morally upright person, and a spiritually inclined person. And that is Whitley Steber. And I've watched all of his movies. I've read, years ago, I read all the books that he had out about his experiences. And unfortunately, he is a victim of this psyop, one of the worst. He's been manipulated and programmed since, according to him, since he was a child. He's been abducted since he was a child. His own child has been abducted, and since he was a little kid, and continued to be experimented on and abused. So much so I remember, and again, this is coming from his book and his movie, where his little kid says, I prayed to God to have them stop, meaning the aliens, and they didn't stop. God didn't answer my prayer. And you can hear the pain in Whitley Steber as a father having to listen to this. And, reading it is horrible. And he talks about one experience where he's outside of his house and he sees that his son is being abducted by what he believes to be aliens. And he's very, very upset about it, understandably, because he knows what's going to happen. And the aliens communicate to him, or the aliens, the human beings pretending to be aliens telepathically communicate to him and say, are you going to be good, or, because we can knock you out and put you to bed. And so that is incredibly abusive, just unbelievably abusive. And again, the spiritualization of abuse through this program. What does this do? What it does is it teaches you to spiritualize, and it creates Stockholm syndrome, which is you identify with your captors and you explain it away. You spiritualize, you accept, you even tolerate and the abuse, and you make it into a good thing. If you do that on that level, guess what? You can do it on all kinds of levels. Force people into smart cities, do, strange things that of course would never happen, like blow up an entire island and take away, all of that island from the indigenous people there. That's never happened. Or let's say if something really crazy, this hasn't happened yet either, but let's say something really crazy, like there was going to be some kind of natural disaster, let's say in Los Angeles, the biggest megalopolis, and there would be a fire that wiped out, most of the city, and everybody would be, imagine how funny this would be. This would never happen, of course, but imagine how funny this would be if there was a huge fire that took out the entire city or big chunks of the city, and then the president came and said something like, everybody gets a one-time payment of $770. So that you can buy, baby formula and water. That would be ridiculous, because that would just be admitting, you just stuck a knife in somebody's chest and you give them a Band-Aid. That would be an incredibly psychopathic, abusive thing to do. So imagine something like that happening. Of course, that's not going to happen. So we educate humans on the actual nature of ET consciousness, which is completely contrary to what you've been told, which is that they're these mindless sociopath almost robot-like beings that carve you up and chop you up, and it's okay. Because it doesn't bother them, and because they're, from another civilization, it's okay. It's not okay. It's never been okay. And to reveal that extraterrestrials are not only are they not psychopathic, not only are they not evil, but they are more loving than we are. They have far more love within them than we do, and that is because they are higher dimensional beings. And that, we talked about that on the channel, that needs to be revealed, educate humans on that. So that can only happen once people know the truth about the existence of extraterrestrials and the truth about the Dark Force elites and their secret space program and the fake alien abductions and the war that has been fought. That is a war of consciousness. I want you to understand that. They are actively at war to prevent you from having access to true understanding of your awakening, true understanding of your essence and your relationship to the universe. It will mean destruction of religion. It will mean destruction of the need for money. It will mean the destruction of the need for government. It will mean the destruction of all of the things that limit us and hold us back and keep us in the Middle Ages, because that's what's been going on. I've shown you this graph here. So, we left Kali Yuga. If you look down at the bottom there, we left Kali Yuga in 1700. So we're already in what's called Dwapara Yuga. We should be far more advanced than we are. So what's happened is that since Kali Yuga, the powers that be have been, and they did it originally with monotheist religion. That's why monotheist religion was invented in the middle of Kali Yuga, right there smack dab in the middle. AD 500 is when this new, Christian religion, and then Islam came not too far after that. And it's just, you're a worthless piece of garbage. You're going to get thrown into hell, and all that. That was used to keep people from knowing the truth, because if we had, for instance, the Library of Alexandria, if that hadn't, the Christians burned that down. But the Library of Alexandria talked about the world being a globe, and talked about the math. They already had the math to figure out that the earth was a globe. So that was way back then, almost 2,000 years ago. And so if we had been allowed to evolve, we would be, according to this, we would be in Dwapara Yuga, meaning we would be in a society that had 0 point energy, so you don't have to pay somebody so that you can stay warm and, eat and all of that. There would be no hunger, there would be no poverty. We would already be moving towards a utopia, but utopias don't pay well. So if what you want to do is to run the world and make up this thing called money so that you have this social credit score and keep people trapped and just use them as slaves, then you don't want them to awaken spiritually or scientifically. So as what happened 13,000 years ago, there was a huge at that time it was a natural disaster, worldwide, climate disaster that just wiped out the previous civilization and shoved human beings down into the level of, hunter-gatherers. We're going to have a shift going in the opposite direction. But before that happens, consciousness has to awaken. So people have to awaken to the true nature of their spirituality, and the true understanding of extraterrestrials is the gateway to that. And once that barrier has been taken away, and extraterrestrials, which represent a higher dimensional consciousness, by the way, there are humans in higher dimensions, just to let you know. It's not just ETs. There are humans there. They've shifted to a higher frequency. I don't know how many, but I believe very strongly that they're there. I believe I've interacted with them. All right. So educate humans on the actual nature of ET consciousness would be the next step. And then after that, expand into mass individual experience of CE5. So the other, I'm trying to get myself interviewed on YouTube channels. And, it's going slowly. I'm getting some. There's a link below one of my most recent interviews. You can go and click on that and watch it if you want. But it's probably a good thing that I'm not, because one of the first things that I would do if I was sitting across one of these big UFO podcast people who want to talk about alien abductions and they want to talk about aliens hypothetically, ETs hypothetically. The first thing I would do is, so you are really interested in this subject? And of course they would say yes. And I would say, then why is it you haven't done CE5? Because all you have to do is do it yourself. Why are you waiting for some UFO disclosure? Why are you waiting around for that for you to prove to you what's going on? Do CE5 and find out for yourself. I would say that to a lot. I would say that to Joe Rogan, who talks about doing DMT and tripping out on DMT. I would say, why haven't you done the ultimate DMT experience without taking DMT, which is CE5? Find out for yourself. So the next thing would be people on a massive scale would be doing CE5 and reaching out to have personal contact with these higher dimensional extraterrestrials. Everything would explode. The whole consciousness of the planet would explode if that happened. So that to me would be the next step if I were planning this out. So the next thing would be to educate people into true understanding of spirituality. That would come by itself. If you had a whole world of people doing CE5 on a regular basis, if you had imagine if we had millions of people doing these live guided interdimensional meditations, the whole understanding of spirituality would just break wide open. I mean, people would no longer be wondering about it. Like 3-4 years ago, I had my experiences and I followed Vedic practices and I followed Taoist practices because I got practical spiritual results. I got energy, like a real tangible experience from it, which then expanded my consciousness and gave me understanding, but I didn't know. I couldn't have told you I know exactly what happens after death. Here's what I think, or here's my experience, even though I had out-of-body experiences and all that. Now I know what it is. Because of the unbelievable, absolutely fantastical, bizarre experiences that I have had and continue to have as a result of being taken astrally to higher dimensions, to go beyond the third dimension, to reunite with my higher dimensional self, to be, see other versions of me and other dimensions, to continuously travel to these other dimensions and other places, and to have interacted with all of the, my relatives who have passed away. They're still out there. They didn't die. They're still out there. And some of them have expanded into unbelievably powerful, ways of being. And, to understand who we were before we came here. That this earth is just one little tiny experiment. I mean, it's the most important, but, we were doing all kinds of stuff before we created Earth, and we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff when we're done with Earth. Earth is just one experiment. So I don't have any doubt. I mean, I may not know everything there is to know, but I know what consciousness is. I know what reality is. I'm not afraid of death. I wouldn't want to go through the pain of being physically unalived. But in terms of, am I worried about what's going to happen after death? No, I have a pretty good idea. I've already experienced it. I've already had so many what would be equivalent of near-death experiences while still holding on to my 3D body. I mean, like other people after having NDEs, they don't doubt. They know exactly what's going to happen. Imagine if we had a whole world of people that knew that. That would be my hope for them. So expand, educate people into true understanding of spirituality. And the question is, will this bring the 5D awakening? And then will there be a solar flash event? So, as you know, I thought the solar flash event was going to come on October 6th of last year. And I even, not only was I preparing myself for it, I actually wrote my landlord at the time, I wrote him a note and I taped it to the kitchen counter, because in case I disappeared and somebody came looking for me, there would be a note and they'd know. And I, told them I went with the flash. If you're still here, I'm gone. I went. I'm not on this planet anymore. I mean, that's how committed I was, and it didn't happen. And it was, it was disappointing. But I got through it, and now I don't know. So the truth is, I was never told that there was going to be a singular solar flash event. I was told that the solar flash event was an ongoing series of solar storms that shifted consciousness up. And I have been shown what looks like a singular event. That may not be the case either, but I have been shown potentially singular event of awakening, but that could be, symbolic. I don't know. So the question is there going to be a single solar flash event? Now, my hope is that there will be. I would like that. Based on what I've been told about who I am out there in the astral realm, I'm actively trying to create that. So if it's left up to me, I would create a solar flash event. But I don't know that that's going to happen. So that's the question I have. In any case, this is, the video for today. Disclosure, UFO disclosure has begun. It's going slowly. Watch the link Dr. Greer gives out, some hopeful things that this may lead to more exposure of deeper and deeper things. So we might get exactly what I've been hoping for. And it's just going to take a little bit of time. The question is, the Jeremy Corbells of the world, how much nonsense are they going to, that feeling I got. I mean, again, I don't know this guy, but without knowing him, I don't know his character, but I know that, and I can't prove it, but it is definitely my opinion that he's a bad actor and that he's lying, because when somebody says the kinds of things that he was saying today, I'll tell you what he said. He did it on some video. It wasn't a podcast. It was some program, and he was on some episode and does this big dramatic thing about there's a lie coming and it's coming soon, and the producer says, what is it? And he says, you really want me to tell you? And he's making it sound like it's going to be this really huge, crazy, mind-blowing, frightening, thing that he's going to reveal. And it's, there's this dramatic music, and he says, yes, go ahead and tell me. All right, I'll tell you. He says, there's a lie coming. They're going to tell you a lie. All right, so now I'm scared and I'm waiting. And then he goes on to say that they're going to tell you that there's an alien mothership heading towards Earth, and it's a lie. And that's it. They've been saying that for years. The Pentagon, 2 years ago, made that claim. I mean, I made a video about it, and it got deleted. Pentagon has already said that, so this isn't coming. So, and to say that and not take it further and say why that's a problem. Why is that a problem? He doesn't say why it's a problem. So it's clearly just meant to distract you and frighten you, and he's such a bad actor. He's so bad at it. I mean, I'd love to sit him down. Listen, if you're going to pull this crap, here's what you need to do. You're just going out there and trying to throw out this frightening, who gives a crap? Anyway, it just shows how desperate they are. In any case, I don't know why I got off on that. I guess I'm wondering to see how much more of that nonsense. I'll be interested to see what Lou Elizondo, last I saw him, he responded to this new News Nation guy, and at some point he started like taking credit for it. Like, like he was given the insinuation that because of the work he's been doing, he's paved the way for this guy, which is nonsense. Anyway, so we'll see what the peanut gallery does and the lying so-called fake UFO whistleblowers. Let's see what kind of nonsense comes from that. We'll see. I hope it goes forward. I believe that our work in these meditations are doing a lot. I think that we have very potentially have had a lot of influence on the energy to allow this to happen. And there's been a shift very recently. From what I gather, there was a lot of hesitancy, and then somewhere there was just kind of a shift, and people just decided to come together and just openly do this. I gathered that from another whistleblower. There's 2 or 3 out there if you go looking for them. There's new ones. And anyway, I'm babbling, so I'm going to shut up. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. You know what to do. Supporting the channel, go to support.thunderwizard.com. You can also just click on the $ below. Listen, if everybody who watched this channel, if every single person, click that $, I'd never have to worry about support. So anyway, that's one way to support it. Go to support.thunderwizard.com. And of course, subscribing, you will get the most benefit for yourself, or go to the shop. And that's all. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the live guided interdimensional meditation. Until then, my friends, be very good to yourselves. Keep your eyes open, because I think things are going to start getting a lot more interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I will see you all very soon. Please take very good care of yourselves.